We've come to the library here in Ystradgynlais to talk to Kirsty Williams about how she feels her first year in charge of the Welsh Liberal Democrats has gone. She's just talking to some constituents over there, so we're going to catch up with her in a couple of minutes. Almost finishing your first full year then in charge. How's it been for you then? It's been
a lot of fun, a lot of hard work and hugely enjoyable. And many of the things that I set out to do during my manifesto, during the leadership contest, we've been able to make some progress on. And I'm very happy that going into Christmas and the New Year, we're a party that's much happier with itself, has a very clear direction about where it's heading. And it's been a good year.
So you spoke a bit then about some of those successes. Do you want to any particular successes that you're really most happy about?
Well, I think first of all, the morale within the National Assembly group is really, really positive. We have been described as being a group that perhaps was quite fractious in the past, and we've been able to gel everybody together, which is no mean feat after a leadership contest, especially when you're in a small group like we have in the Assembly.
So on the flip side then of that question, there's successes, and of course then there's going to be some failures or some things which haven't gone to plan. Any ones stick out, what ones are you most disappointed about?
I think the greatest disappointment of the last year was definitely not securing a member of the European Parliament. It was very frustrating to achieve your goals in one sense in terms of your share of the vote, but to see that achievement being overtaken by another party.
So how much of that disappointment do you shoulder the blame for yourself? Or was it more of was it other reasons to play for them?
Well, I think if we're honest about how Liberal Democrats do in European elections, they are always the toughest set of elections for us. And coming into the job just a few months before polling day, it was going to be difficult to really get a grip on that campaign and to really put my own personal stamp. And to be honest, I think the party had been slightly distracted by all the leadership issues in the months running up. The party had been very much focused on electing a new leader, when really, perhaps in an ideal world, we should have been focusing on that election planning. In our key seats, we saw a big swing to us in Ystradgynlais and pushing really close in Newport East and Swansea West. So on a constituency basis, we did okay, but disappointed not to win.
Despite losing in Brecon and Radnor?
We always lose in Brecon and Radnor in the European election. You only have to look at previous European election results where literally months after my victory, we've not polled so well. It's the traditional way of things in the electoral cycle.
Looking back then at that leadership election, you spoke a lot about in your campaign about reaching out to all of Wales, becoming that party of all of Wales. How do you think that's gone, given that we spoke then about the European elections and polling figures suggested the Lib Dems are 6 points down than what they have been in the past in Wales? How has that reaching out process been going?
I think it's been going really well, but as the European election showed, we've got a long way to go in being more competitive in all parts of Wales. The results were fine and really encouraging where we are strong on the ground. As I said, Cardiff Central, Newport and Swansea, in Ceredigion, the result in Ceredigion reflecting, the strength of Mark Williams' campaign over there. But the challenge for us is being more competitive across all of Wales, and that is going to take more than a year. It's going to probably take more than 2 years. What's great is that we've got more members in all parts of Wales than we had 12 months ago. We've got campaign plans in every single constituency, and obviously they differ hugely depending where they are in Wales. But the most important thing is we're focused on growing the party. There are no quick fixes for Liberal Democrats. There never will be. It's about one ward at a time, and that's how we got to the position we are in Cardiff Central, and that's how we're going to have to do it in all parts of Wales.
And another one of those then strands of your election manifesto was being bold. Do you think you've been bold enough then to achieve those aims you were just speaking about?
Yes, I do, because I think we have not shied away from taking the fight to the government. I don't think we've shied away of exposing Plaid Cymru's role within the government, something that I think we've not been very good at in the past, really challenging the ground that Plaid Cymru stand on. And I think if you look at, for instance, the stance we took on the budget, previously we've never been clear about how we would find the money to cost our own priorities. And it takes some doing to go into the chamber and quite clearly state where you would take money out from. I think that's a bold thing to go and do, but I think it's also the honest thing to do, and I think it's an approach to politics that people will respond to.
You're not too concerned that you don't think that boldness has sort of been reflected in the polls as of yet?
I think if you look at the polls in Wales, especially the most recent ones, we are where we were in the run-up to the last general election. And as we know, Liberal Democrats always poll higher during the election when we get decent media coverage, when the story isn't just simply about, you know, Labour versus the Conservatives. And when our message is put across to people, people respond by voting for the Liberal Democrats. And also in national polls, it's very difficult to focus on what's going on in the ground.
Being the leader of a party in Wales is, I suppose, a bit like being a football manager or a team manager. How have you found managing your players, as it were, your team members?
It's been great, and I'm hugely fortunate to be in a part of a team in Wales with some fantastically energetic and experienced politicians. So I couldn't be luckier really as a party leader to be leading a team of people who want to achieve the same goals as I do and are working really hard to do that.
One of them, of course, has come under a little bit of scrutiny, in particular in the past year, Llambed.
Yes.
Do you sort of feel that scrutiny of him is justified, and how do you deal with that sort of scrutiny as a leader when, you know, one of your flock, as it were, sort of singled out?
Well, I think the fact that Llambed is singled out is probably testament to, you know, his high profile, to his campaigning, and to indeed his flamboyant way in which he does his politics. And we're a liberal party, and there is room in the party for people who are flamboyant in that way. And Llambed is one of the most fantastic and most effective communicators in politics that I have ever come across. You know, there are very few politicians in Wales and in the UK that are known by their first name, and Llambed is one of those. And certainly, you know, that's unique to Llambed, and there probably isn't another Liberal Democrat politician that can claim that kind of knowledge at the moment.
Of course, there's a general election, you know, just coming up. Do you think that some of his behaviour is putting that Montgomeryshire seat in particular under threat?
I think the people of Montgomeryshire will do what they've always done, and that is vote for somebody who, at their heart, is concerned about the people of rural Montgomeryshire, and somebody that stands up for them and does a good job for them. And despite what commentators like yourself say about Llambed, at the heart of his work is standing up for the people of Montgomeryshire. I was in Newtown just the other day, out and about on the streets with Llambed, and literally people stopping to talk about issues that Llambed had helped them with, and I was, I was delighted to be in Newtown with Llambed.
Just finishing up then, looking at that general election in a wider context, then, what do you want to achieve in that election? What would be a good outcome for you?
Well, I want the Welsh Party to play its part in growing the team of Liberal Democrat MPs that we return to Westminster. I want us to build on the success we saw at the last general election and add to it. I want to send a larger number of Welsh Liberal Democrat MPs to Parliament next time.
Do you think that's possible, or do you think you're spending more time sort of defending, you know, Ceredigion, which is quite marginal, and Brecon Radna, which, like you said, lost in the European elections? We've just spoken about Llambed. Do you think you'd be spending more time defending as opposed to, you know, being on the offensive?
Well, no, not at all. I mean, obviously we have a job to do in defending up the 4 seats that we hold, and you're quite right, Mark's majority is only one of 300, but Mark has spent the last 4 years since he was elected working tirelessly in that constituency, you know, and I see the results of that every time I visit Ceredigion with Mark, the high esteem in which he is held by people of all parties, not people who are just Liberal Democrat voters, but all people in Ceredigion can see the value of what Mark Williams has been doing. And, you know, you talk to the Labour Party in places like Newport East and Swansea West and tell them that the Liberal Democrats are only interested in defending the 4 that they've got. You know, that's why they've brought top people in to try and defend Jessica Morden's seat in Newport East. You know, one wonders why the Labour Party and people like Andrew Davis are running scared in Swansea West, and that's not because the Liberal Democrats are interested in just hanging on to the 4 that we've got. We're out there campaigning in seats like that, and in Wrexham, Pontypridd, Merthyr, you know, where people are sick to their teeth of how the Labour Party have treated them. They're looking for an alternative, and we're out there campaigning hard for every vote. Just
to finish off, any New Year's resolutions that we should know about?
I make an absolute habit of never making New Year's resolutions because it's so depressing by the end of January when you've given in and eaten those extra cream cakes, or you haven't been to the gym. So no New Year's resolutions for me.